part two with what's on my hard copy. That's already a lot of parts to it, like the evidence, the medical paperwork, the flu like symptoms, the denial of any paperwork to get out of work, the denial of Social Security, the lack of effort for documentation, stuff like that. That's all been recorded on separate hard copies. I don't know where half of them are sent to. I don't know where half of them are in the house anymore. And hopefully, some of my relatives will get copies too. On top of all that, it comes with pictures, evidence, and proof. It's not like I would say these things without a picture of blood being filled up inside of me, internal bleeding, or without years of injuries on the side of the road, or without hundreds of witnesses seeing me have to be injured. So this is something that's well documented by everybody around me. But here's the funny part. Well documented by every single person I ever met and spent time with. Anybody who's ever met me has seen me shake in the cold, has seen my conditions, and they always ask, what's wrong with you? It's a pre-existing conditions that the doctors won't treat. The doctor, oh, what's this one? Again, I went to the emergency room and the doctors refused to do anything. So everybody around me has been very used to that. Meanwhile, when I caught COVID or the flu, and I could have stayed out of work and stayed home, and I probably should have with my pre-existing conditions and in the condition I was in. My doctor refused to let me stay home. They didn't write me any paperwork. They tried to keep me off welfare. And before COVID hit, I was trying to get help with this. There was very little help. So it almost seems like the doctors are really complacent in not writing a disabled man paperwork so that way he's denied for services. On top of that, so he'll go to work and get injured more for commerce. Because they know I'm getting injured. They know I'm getting hurt. They know I'm disabled. They've seen the scars. They've seen the phone calls. They've got reports of me crawling. They've seen me work hard. They've seen me fill out paperwork even though my hand shakes. They've seen me go down for years now to appointments. I've gone to Maiden and seen workers. All the stuff they've seen. So it really seems like they're complacent. And when I do finally die, and I have a feeling the hospital, what's going to happen is I'm going to be unconscious again on the side of the road, or somebody's going to call an ambulance for me. They're going to pick me up. I'm not going to have a choice in the matter. And then the doctors are going to finish me off. And then I'm going to be pronounced dead on arrival or something. Then they're going to make up a story like, oh, we don't know. It must have been the Ativan we injected him with. Some bullshit like that. And then I'll have to wait for one of my relatives in heaven to come up and have a talk with them. Hey, why didn't you guys go through my paperwork? I left you guys 25 years of help. Come on. I've been asking for help for 25 years with this shit. People have been seeing me bone skinny, falling, head injuries, vomiting in trash cans every day. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being sick. There's no reason for it, though. That's the worst part. Neurological conditions, like the Triliptil's helping, but that's only a stopgap measure. That's all. We need to go a lot further, and the emergency rooms need to start helping. And it's too late to fix their past mistakes, like making me work with COVID. I mean, that's terrible. Making a disabled man who's falling down on the ground, then who catches COVID or a flu, then not giving him documentation enough so you have him go to work and spread it. That's terrible. That's terrible to do. And it's not my work's fault because they were very willing to let me out of work as long as my doctors gave me documentation that was good enough to have me leave work. And there was also welfare programs. But like I said, even when I fell on the side of the road all bloody, even when I was qualified for welfare, they weren't giving it to me for my disability. And I tried to just go in to get a regular do not sick, I got the flu and I'll be back to work in a couple weeks, that's all. But nope, they wouldn't even give me that. They wouldn't give me nothing. They just wanted me to go right back to work. That was the only gas station really open all the time. Maybe that's why. But I kept on getting injured because of it, and there was no reason other than the doctors didn't want to write paperwork at the time. And here's the rest of the recording that is on the hard copy that got sent out because some weird stuff is happening to any device hooked up to Wi-Fi. It almost seems like the state is going through my phones and my devices. or like maybe somebody is interfering with my health care as well. It definitely is obvious somebody is fucking with my health care. No, I've never seen another man have to crawl as much as I did. I mean, I still am. I'm crawling around the house to get around. But I mean, the doctors had me crawl on cement to get a CT scan and then had me go back 3 times. And here's the funny part. I just found out that those two, that hospital and my primary care, are connected, so it should have been instantaneously sent over. Instead, she told me she couldn't get it, they couldn't send it, go back, couldn't get it, couldn't send it, go back, and I'm crawling using 2 crutches to get around. That's messed up. I'm crawling busy roads, like those crosswalks with the lights. I have to crawl across those. And if I don't, the doctors say they won't get me better. They told me I need a CT scan, but then they won't do it. So then they send me back over and over and over to crawl. And then when I say, isn't there something better we can do, like a wheelchair or some better way for me to get there without getting hurt? They say, no. I have this recorded that they are telling me I don't need one and I should just keep crawling. That seems very. I don't think that's right. I'm pretty sure if I talk to other doctors that it's very inappropriate for your patient to be crawling around town to get medical tests done. I'm not a doctor. I'm a disabled man who graduated from a special ed school, who's been labeled disabled his whole life. And if you go through his childhood pictures, he looks really deathly ill. And now I'm still deathly ill. And now I've been worked and forced to keep commerce going for these towns. So now I'm really fucked up. But anyways, here's the rest of the recording. And my name is Zachary Newell. I only give you that because so you can check the obituaries, because I don't think I'm going to make it out of this town. I think they plan on finishing me off, but if I do make it out, hopefully I can get help. Paperwork, they're not helping me. I can't get Social Security. Not that I'm really asking. I'm asking for agencies to do the Social. I'm not capable of doing it. I'm not capable of really filling out the Social Security paperwork. So I ask agencies to help me, but then they do very weird stuff, like file paperwork months off of when they're supposed to, when they know that's going to postpone things 3 months. Then when we finally get it in, they play another game 3 months later that tells us that we have to restart, or they just give me appointments on the wrong dates, and literally I write it down and I triple have them tell it to me. So it's just so much sketchy stuff going on. I'm wondering if the state of New Hampshire has decided to take their disabled individuals and use them up to try to help the commerce in the town, seeing as so many people on welfare or so many people want to be out of work. On top of that, every year I work really hard because they force me to. But on top of this, last year I made $16,000, $17,000 while disabled, while reporting injuries, while reporting pre-existing conditions. But on top of that, I just went to get my tax return done at H&R Block, and they said they were only going to give me $18 this year. I usually get about $1,800, $1,200 a year from H&R Block, and I work the same. I work about the same amount. But this year, they're only going to give me $18. That seems very weird. It seems like the state of New Hampshire wants more money out of me, too, then. So the state of New Hampshire wants more money out of my taxes. They want a disabled man to work. They also want me to have pre-existing conditions and not have anybody document them. They want me falling down on the side of the road. I also can't drive due to this. I can drive as soon as the state steps in, but because they won't, I can't. So with all this going on, I'm wondering if this town and this state has decided just to use me up for their own commerce. That might be the case, because I'm getting a lot of weird behavior that I'm recording and taking pictures of. So after you find my body used up and dead, if you hear this recording, because I'll be sending it out on CDs and hard copies, look up my name. My name is Zachary Newell. That's Newell. I am in really bad condition, and I'm sure there's a lot of fraudulent papers if it's true. I don't no clue what's going on. All I know is that I'm a disabled individual who's working really hard, getting injured, and seeing a lot of sketchy behaviors around him. From, like, the Department of Health and Human Services is acting weird, the hospitals are acting weird, and I've never seen them act this way with another individual, and I've had to get a lot of disabled people help. That's one of my specialties. I work with disabled people and point them in the right direction. I'm not able to do very much for myself, but because I've had to do so much disabled stuff, I'm able to help other disabled people. But the services that other people are getting up here seem to be purposely messed up here, and I've never seen anybody as injured as me or as disabled as me, working as hard as me and getting as injured as me, with so much weird stuff going on. Like being forced to work with COVID. That was a weird one. Why would your doctors and why would the state be fine with you working with the flu as a disabled individual with pre-existing conditions? That just seems weird to me. Understood. And I've been dealing with it for 25 years. I think you guys are going to... Yeah, the 25 years. Oh yeah, that's a neurological disorder. That one is not part of my disability case. I do have actual disabilities, like I can't write. My hand shakes too much. I can't move my nervous system well. But that just is under can't write. And then they got a bunch of bull. Like I said, if I went through my medical files and whatever was written down from age 7 to 19, I bet there would be 90% of it is my mother's fantasies. But that doesn't make me any less disabled, and it doesn't mean I can lie and say I'm not disabled. So I have to mark I'm disabled, and I'm always will be disabled, and I always expect to be treated disabled, and because I'm not going to be able to grow wings and fly. If a man is in a wheelchair and you think you can help him by pushing him down a flight of stairs, you're wrong. And I'm tired of people pushing me down a flight of stairs. I'm not going to get cured overnight. I'm going to get treatment from a doctor eventually or die. One or the other.